It's almost the end of February, and you've probably told yourself that this year is gonna be your year, this year is gonna be different, and this year you're finally hit your goals. And you wanted to leave 2025 behind. At least it was quite a tough year for me, and I've heard also for other people. I don't know if you can relate, but maybe you already discarded the goals you made in January or even forgot about them. You're still hitting your snooze button, you're skipping your workouts, and eating healthier is a long faded memory from the past. And I'm telling you this because I'm the last one to judge you. Every single year I was so motivated, I would make myself a huge goal list, put it into Notion, divide them into monthly and weekly and make a habit list and whatsoever. And yet I wondered why every single time by February or latest March I would have forgotten about these goals. Probably you've heard often enough that you should focus on who you become rather than what you do. But something is still holding you back. I won't tell you how to actually want these goals bad enough, how to work harder and how to push through and struggle your way through this year. But in this video, I'm gonna tell you about one major hack that will actually help you overcome your self-sabotage and achieve your goals this year, for real. By the way, my name is Carla, and on this channel we're all about building self-trust, self-discipline, and becoming our best selves. The real problem is actually, as the author of the book Atomic Habits, James Clear, said, is that you don't rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your identity. So if you see yourself as someone who struggles with being consistent, then you'll also act like it. So the main thing we want to focus this year is not on what exactly do I want to do, but how do I want to show up? Who do I want to become? So what would the 2026 version of you be like? What's her energy like? What does she tell herself? How does she act? How does she behave? How does she walk? How does she talk? All this matters to shape the version of you that can actually follow up with the goals you set for yourself. Because if you're trying to achieve your 2026 goals with your 2025 identity, it's not only that you make it much harder for yourself, but you will most likely not end up achieving your goals. I used to always think I had to completely reinvent myself overnight. I would set myself ambitious goals and expect way too much of me. And additionally, I thought once I commit, there is no way back. And that pressure actually made everything feel extreme. So I would show up for 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes I could push for 4 weeks, but at some point I was exhausted. I just couldn't continue. And every single time I would fail on these goals, I would become frustrated, and then I sabotaged myself and forgot about them. And as an HSP, aka highly sensitive person, this pressure feels extra dangerous. Our system is hyper aware of consequences and the unknown, and the problem is that for our brain, the unknown is dangerous. And this overnight transformation sets such a perfectionist all or nothing mode, and this triggers especially highly sensitive people, but also normal people, to freeze and procrastinate because the brain just has to process far too much. And the actual problem for both highly sensitive people, but also people who are not highly sensitive, is that our brains don't actually like success. Our brain's task is to keep us safe. And safe can be anything. So if you feel comfortable being sad all the time, if you feel comfortable complaining, then your brain prefers that. And it will try everything to keep you there. That's the reason why we self-sabotage. So even if something is good for you, your brain interprets this as danger. Every time you get out of your comfort zone, the brain doesn't know who will you be, what will happen, so it rather tries to keep you safe. This could mean watching Netflix every evening, or skipping your workouts, or scrolling instead of posting that content, or avoiding anything uncomfortable like an uncomfortable conversation, or just doing something that you've never done before. So the crazy thing is, if you're unhappy and you wanted to change that, you really want to be happy, your brain doesn't want you to be happy. Your brain is trying everything to keep you unhappy because that's familiar and that's safe. So how the heck can we change that? Even if you're not a highly sensitive person, stick with me because this counts for you as well. So by the end of this video, you'll finally understand what is holding you back, and you can change your identity so you can actually achieve your goals this year as the new self. So actually 95% of everything you do comes from your subconscious mind. So it's not something you actively and consciously choose to do. It's based on your experiences, your attitudes, everything that you think you know is impacting the way you think and the way you act every single day. But I figured out a way for myself to avoid this self-sabotage and actually change my identity so I can become the version of myself who can achieve my goals. You probably have a role model in your mind, or you know exactly who you want to be. So we know now that we have to focus on who do we want to become versus what we want to do. But even if I did that and I had a very precise imagination of who I want to become, maybe you also do, or you have a specific role model that you're thinking of, then we try to think of all these habits and all these characteristics. We show up as the person, and after some days or maximum a few weeks, we fall into these old patterns and we realize we start doing these things that we try to avoid so hard, but it actually feels good. And then one day I somehow realized why I'm panicking and why I'm falling into these traps. Every time you tell yourself this is permanent, or your brain thinks this is a permanent change, then you panic. Because as I said, your subconscious job is to keep you safe. So everything out of your comfort zone, everything that you do that you haven't done before, which is needed to achieve things that you haven't achieved before, your brain signals danger. And danger means it will pull you back to your old self and try everything for you not to change. In theory, you can wake up tomorrow and decide to be a different person. But what if you become that new person and this new person is completely different from your old self? Who are you going to be? And this feels extremely comfortable. Like if you think about it, you are actually afraid to lose yourself. So this is the reason why your brain panics. However, if you tell yourself, I'm not gonna change forever, I'm just gonna commit today to be this new person, then you can relax. Because tomorrow, you can still decide to go back to your old version. So you're not seeing it as pruning away your old life, but you're actually just experimenting. You're tipping your toes into it and not fully jumping into the cold water. And this is especially important for highly sensitive people who experience these feelings 10 times stronger. So imagine that you can always go back to the old life if you want to. It will be very easy for you to just start watching Netflix again every day. You can make a break from the gym. You can stop doing your daily walk. You can do all these things. It's very easy. You probably know from experience, as do I. It's so hard to actually create a new habit, and it's incredibly easy, even if following through for some weeks, to fall back into the old patterns. So in a nutshell, growth feels dangerous to you because it threatens your identity. But if you know that you can always go back, it feels more safe, and you can step by step and day by day change into this new identity, and with this new identity achieve your goals much more easily, because you're now the person that is capable to do that. So at some point you won't tell yourself, I have to go to the gym, or I have to go to work, or have to do whatever. You will actually want to go because you know that you can always choose not to go. So the first step for you is to go back to your 2026 goals, and if you haven't written them down, then what are you doing? Go write them now. And then you go through these goals and ask yourself, who do I need to become to achieve these goals? If you wrote down, for example, that you want to start going to the gym this year, or you finally want to be consistent with it, then you can write down that you want to become someone who follows the plan and not the mood. You can be someone who prioritizes their fitness and wellness. You can become someone who wants to feel like their best selves and who wants to feel fit and healthy. Or if your goal is to read 15 books this year, then you can write down that you want to become someone who reads daily for 10 minutes, for example. So write down all these things that you want to become, Maybe you want to become someone who follows through. You want to become someone who takes themselves and their plans seriously and commits to them. Maybe you want to become someone who is loving and giving and really cares for their friends and family. Maybe you want to be someone who lives their life to the fullest and tries to make new experiences regularly. And then check all your goals and who you want to become and see if that aligns with your self-worth, and make sure that you know the actual why. Because sometimes we want something and we think that we want it, but we actually want something else. Maybe you want a Chanel bag, but ask yourself, why do you want a Chanel bag? Do you want to be seen? Do you want to feel special? And then ask yourself if there are other ways to achieve that. Or maybe you realize you don't want it anymore. And then look at your list and try to be that person for 7 days. Not more, not forever. You don't have to change completely. You're just trying and experimenting and kind of trying these new clothes on. And then if you hate it, you can always go back. So if there's one thing I want you to take from this video, is that you don't need to do more and set bigger and better and more goals, but you actually need a different identity. This will make it so much easier for you to achieve them because it's very natural to you. If you identify with someone who follows through, who's consistent, who wakes up without snoozing, you will simply do it. So please don't give up on your goals. It's not that you're not capable or not disciplined or that you don't want it bad enough. You know that. You just need to shift your identity so that it matches your goals, and then also give yourself some grace. Just try out this new identity for a bit and then adapt as you go. Thanks so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more content about building self-trust, self-discipline, and actually becoming our best selves.